Well, hello, Connection Group leaders. I trust that now we've come to the midpoint of our journey through the book of Revelation. I hope that you're encouraged. I hope that you're finding stimulating conversation in your connection groups. I hope that you yourself are being enriched, um, strengthened in your faith, um, more in love with Jesus because of the time that we've spent together in the book of Revelation. It calls for a higher caliber of leadership, calls for I think a more persevering kind of discernment, I guess, and wisdom as to how to lead through some of these things. I trust that God's really shaping you, sharpening you, challenging you, but encouraging you along the way. We've come to Revelation chapters 12 and 13. Chapter 12 is really a dynamic chapter. It's almost a picturesque recap of the story of the whole Bible. What you've got are um, these characters introducing the storyline of really the eternal gospel that's going on, Genesis to Revelation. You've got the dragon representing Satan or the serpent, the devil, interchangeable titles and names given there. But you've got the dragon. In fact, 11 out of the 13 occurrences in the book of Revelation occur right in these two chapters of that title of the dragon. That's the preeminent title, descriptive title that he's given there. And you've got this war waging the dragon as up against the child, the man child, the child who comes to, it says, shepherd all the nations with an iron scepter. Because of that, I just want to read for you Psalm 2 because it's a direct allusion to Genesis 3 and some promises there. And also, but more specifically, I believe Psalm 2. Listen to the words of Psalm 2, and it will frame in the whole story that you're going to be reading about in Revelation chapter 12. Psalm 2 says, "Why do the nations rebel and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth take their stand, and the rulers conspire together against the Lord and against his anointed one. Let us tear off their chains and free ourselves from their restraints." The one enthroned in heaven laughs. The Lord ridicules them. Then he speaks to them in his anger and terrifies them in his wrath. I have consecrated my king on Zion, my holy mountain. Remember that phrase there, by the way. I've chosen my king, consecrated him on Zion, my holy mountain. I will declare the Lord's decree. He said to me, "You are my son. Today I have become your father. Ask of me, and I will make the nations your inheritance and the ends of the earth your possession. You will break them with a rod of iron. You will shatter them like pottery. So now, kings, be wise. Receive instruction, you judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with reverential awe. Rejoice with trembling. Pay homage to the Son, or he will be angry, and you will perish in your rebellion. For his anger will ignite at any moment, and all those who take refuge in him are happy." So that Psalm 2, really is put into kind of an allegorical story form when you get to Revelation 12 and 13. You're going to see that the war takes place on this earth in the first 7 verses of Revelation 12, and then it occurs in the heavens. And then there is actually a meeting of the war between what's going on in the heavens and the enemy being cast to the earth. So, really, that whole eternal drama of this enemy trying to shake off the sovereignty of God and yet ultimately being succumbed by the Son. It's a beautiful story. I think you'll really be intrigued as you lead your people through it. Chapter 13 actually introduces what many theologians call the unholy trinity. What you've got is the dragon again, and then you've got the first beast who comes out of the sea, and then this second beast who comes out of the earth. The first beast comes out in the first half of chapter 13, the beast from the earth, starting in verse 11. Later on, when you get to chapter 20, you see that these are referred to as the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. Here he's this beast from the earth. But this unholy trinity setting itself up in a deceptive way to allure the people of the earth to try to grab and gain their worship and affections away from the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. a mockery, really, of trying to take the place of the one true God. So the people of the earth in chapter 13 are really divided into two categories. What you've got are those who live on the earth, fleshly people, and they have a mark of the beast. You'll see that they are even the only ones who can have commerce with one another. There's freedom on this earth for those who will give allegiance to this unholy Trinity, and they have a mark of the beast on them. They are in a category very different and separate from the saints who dwell in the heaven and who do not have the mark of the beast, instead are sealed. The seal of God is on their foreheads, not the mark of the beast, a mark almost like just of brutal ownership. No, the seal of God on the forehead of those who are the redeemed from chapter 8, verse 1, isn't just a seal, it's also a sign of protection, of ownership, but in loving, protective, nurturing, kind of a seal, that kind of ownership. And right at the end of chapter 13, you've got this number of man, the number 666. I think really symbolically of, the number 7 of perfection. You see the number 7 representing perfection often throughout the scriptures, and 666, stacking those sixes up, like always trying but never able to attain the perfection of God, always falling short. Even the most powerful enemy of God introduced here falls short of God. And so we must decide while we're here on this earth, whom will we ally with? Who will be our king? Where will our allegiance be? Will we accept the freedom, the temporary freedom of being a people of this earth, with taking the mark of the beast and having freedom to buy and sell and worship this one who seemingly will give us all of our heart's desires? Or will we understand and recognize the deception of the enemy, the accuser of the brethren? Instead, come to the Lamb who will forgive, who will receive, who will protect. The choice is ours, and really chapters 12 and 13 gives us the opportunity once again to speak the gospel to our people and compel them. Know Christ, come to him, don't be caught in the deception. I trust that you'll have a great opportunity to discuss these things, hopefully steering away from, well, is that a microchip under the skin, and what's going to happen to that, and if I do numerology to Oprah, does that make her the Antichrist? Is it 666? That kind of stuff. Staying away from that and keeping with the great sweeping storyline of the Bible and finding Jesus in these chapters. God bless you as you lead your people.